Welcome back, producers. In this episode, we're finally going to be making our drop. I am so sorry that this video may be a little late.
It's a lot late.
Things have just been a little bit hectic. I'm actually moving in the next couple weeks, throughout the next couple weeks. That's actually the reason my face cam is not up right now. My whole setup has been torn down to get ready to move. But, you know, the camera isn't absolutely necessary. I just thought it was a nice little personal touch. So, in fact, I thought I'd leave it up to you guys. You tell me, what do you like better? Is it easier to focus without the face cam? Is it easier to concentrate with it? Let me know in the comments below, and maybe I'll keep this format the way it is from now on. I don't want to talk your guys' ear off before we start this, but I do want to let you know that on my Patreon, I released a sample pack where I have some of these full drum loops here. They're kind of dubstep-y and trappy. And I have them, you know, without the hi-hats, without the kicks. It's all separated like that. I have some drum samples, just straight kicks, snares. I have some build-ups here, you know, some snare build-ups I'm actually going to be using today. And some bass hits, which I really like. So if you become a patron today for only $2, all of these samples can be yours, as well as the samples and presets we'll be using in today's episode. And speaking of today's episode, let's actually get into it. So I wanted the drop episodes to be really good, and that's part of the reason they've taken so long to come out. So they're probably going to be going over 4 different parts. I don't know if it'll be 4 separate episodes, but it will be 4 parts. It's going to be the drums, the bass, the synths, and then the final FX. And I just thought breaking it down this way will make it a lot easier and streamlined, and make it a lot easier to teach you guys. So let's jump right in with our drum pattern. We'll go to your first open pattern, whatever that is. We've gone over drum patterns before when we were doing our intro and, you know, the verse area and all that. So it's basically the same idea. We are going to be using the woodblock clap that's in my Anyone Can Trap pack if you are a patron, which is kind of this cool woodblock hit. You might hear it in a lot of Skrillex songs he's been using, like Jack U recently and all that. They're really popular in trap. So we're going to be using that with our snare today, and we're just going to create a pretty basic drum line. Now remember, it's completely up to you. Now I'm also pairing that with the snare, by the way, our original snare. That's going along with the wood clap. So remember, you can do this really any way you want. Usually the snares are always going to be on the same beat, and some of the kicks will have a consistency to them. But overall, it really is up to your imagination on how you want to make your song. Nice. I do like that, so I'm going to paste that right at our drop here, duplicate it, and then I'm going to duplicate it 2 more times, but I'm going to make this one unique. So I'm actually going to delete this one. I'm going to make this one unique, and I'm going to add hi-hats. So I'm going to come into the piano roll of our channel here for our hi-hats, and I'm going to just add a roll. And I don't want the hi-hats to come in until that kick comes in, the second kick, because that's when our bass will be coming in. We're going to have a delay drop. So I'm going to start our roll there. I'm just going to do it just about every 2 notches. And then, you know, you can, like I said, you don't have to do it exactly like this. You can fill in, you know, a little fancy stuff, little triplets, everything like that. Fill it in anywhere you want. Okay, perfect. Let's listen back to that. I really like that. And I wanted to start off on a roll right when that kick happens. So I'm going to fill in even more here. Cool, I like that. Gives it a little bit more of an impact. So I'm going to paste this one across here, and then I'm actually going to make this one unique again, and I'm just going to fill in those hi-hats at the beginning because I don't want it to have the break like it did the first time. There we go. So now I'm also going to add a ride in here, which will kind of be like our cymbal. And we're going to just put that in every, let's see, every 8 beats. Try. Yeah, we're going to keep that there, and we're actually going to add that in on both of them. I already did it on 17, do it on 18, and on 19 as well. And this will just help the song sound a little more full. Now, I'm actually going to take them off at the beginning here. That first one I'm going to keep, not at the snare though, because I want it to be more of an impact when the drop comes in and the bass and everything, so I'm going to add one right at that kick, and then keep it at every 8 steps from there on out. Okay, now that we have that done, now we can actually go onto our bass already. So we're going to come up to a free pattern, and we're going to open up our bass, which is our 3x oscillator. Actually, I'm going to clone it, and I'm going to turn this one up a little more than the last one. That way, it's a little more prominent, and it shows up a little more in the drop. It'll make the drop more intense. So we know it's F sharp. Now I'm going to have one hit that comes in behind our synth. That's kind of like a wow synth you heard if you listened to the song in the first episode of this. And I'm going to have a bass behind that, but it's just going to kick in real quick. So we're going to have it come in right here and just go for barely a beat. Nice. And then it's going to come in on the 4th beat here. And we'll drag this out, and then we can actually paste this in our playlist under the drums, and then, oh, sorry about that, zoomed in too far, and then we can just basically check out how it sounds as we're making it. Nice. Okay, I'm going to stop there. Nice. Okay, I'm going to turn it down a little bit. It's a little loud. And then I'm just going to repeat that out all 4 times here. And, you know, you can change it up any way you want. I'm just giving you a basic idea. But we are going to make this one unique. And then keep this one going out. Oh, sorry. God damn it. And keep this one going out all the way. Because, again, like I said, I don't want that, like, sudden stop. And then we will duplicate that for the second part here, and there we go. So now we have our drums and our bass. So next is our synths. Like I said, it's going to start off with that bow kind of sound. I believe it's a square wave with some FM and all that. I made it here in Massive, and I have the preset, which, remember, if you do become a patron on my Patreon, you'll get this preset for free. If not, I do actually plan on making a tutorial for this exact sound in the next couple days or in the next week or so, so keep an eye out for that. Otherwise, you can probably sound a preset similar or something along those lines somewhere else online, or you can just become a patron. So I'll show you what it sounds like here. It sounds best down at the C2, C3 range. See, it's kind of like a metallic wow sound. And we're just going to keep that going for the same amount that we did that bass at the beginning. So really just 1 beat. And have that right at the beginning on the kick. And let's listen to that. Nice. So you can hear there's a good amount of reverb on that. I'm going to turn that down. I had already brought it into a slot and edited it here in the mixer, because I was practicing beforehand, and I didn't want to have to go through all that in this video. But I do have an OTT on there just to give it a little more crunch, and then a little bit of reverb, and then the limiter with side chaining, which I will explain in a little bit. And the sample I will be giving away free today, which I also made a tutorial for in Massive in a previous video a couple months back, is a trap screech. Now this one is at an F sharp, so you don't have to worry about getting the pitch right. It's already with this song unless you changed it. So I'm just going to drag that in here. Sorry if that scared you. It's a little loud, so I'm sorry about that. I hope I didn't scare you. Now I'm going to have our first one come in. I'm going to bring it into its own track. I already had it in one, but we'll ignore that. Bring it into its own track, and I want the first one to come in at the second kick when that first bass comes in. And we'll drag it out just to about the size it should be. Now I'm going to turn it down a little bit from its initialized spot. It already is. It should be here when you first turn it. I would turn it down to around, around 40 to 50%, somewhere between there. So inside of the track we added it to, in the first slot I'm going to add an OTT like I used in the massive preset for you guys. And I'm just going to turn up the mids and highs here a little bit, turn down the output gain. And again, that just gives it a little more crunch, gives it some compression. It's really nice. I believe that's an Ableton preset that somebody made for just a standard VST for any program to use, and it's awesome. I love OTT. And then we're just going to add some reverb as well. And we want a good amount of reverb on this, so we want our decay to be pretty high, dampness to be alright, around there, wet to be pretty high. Let's bring it up a little bit more. There we go. Okay, and again, I'm just going to turn this down a little bit more. So I want our high-pitched screech to be similar in rhythm to our verses. You know, the bell, the dun 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 dun. So it'll kind of be screeching in that rhythm, the dun 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 dun. You know, it doesn't have to be exactly like that, but I think that helps keep a theme throughout the song and helps it sound a little bit better. So I'm just going to repeat some of these across here. Okay, and when we go into our effects section, I'll show you how I'm going to actually have this one drop down with a tape stopping effect. So after these 4 bars, I don't want that same kind of wow kick to come in again and cause like a stopping sensation. I want it to keep flowing. So I'm actually going to just throw in some extra little screeches here. And we'll just keep that going. I'll draw some more out. Perfect. Now I'm just going to copy this and then paste it over here to the area where we have our hi-hats come in. And remember, like I said, you can add all the variation you want, just making this as streamlined as possible. Now, you may have noticed that it does sound a little weird. And it may sound a little like it's clashing, but that's because we haven't mixed it or mastered it at all yet, which I am going to do a little bit right now by sidechaining this screech. So in the track that we have, what we're going to do is we're going to come to the insert with the kick, which in my case is 1, I believe, right? Yes, my kick is in insert 1. So we come into this insert, and then down here where we have our little connecting wires, you can see I already did it when I was trying this before the episode. You just want to come in here and right-click on the arrow where your trap screech is, that insert, while making sure you're on the first insert. Right-click on this arrow and side chain to this track. Now inside of the screech insert, you're going to come down to the bottom slot, or really wherever you want to put the limiter. I would suggest the bottom one. Come into the compressor in the limiter and then put this side chain up to 1. Now we are side chaining our screech with our kick, and a side chain is essentially dropping the sound whenever the kick comes in so that that will come through a little bit more. And that'll help clean up the sound a little bit. So we're going to pull our threshold down to about 38, maybe 40, pretty low. And we're going to have our knee at about 38-40%. And our ratio at about 2.4. And like I said, you can play with these settings and these knobs and really find out what sound you find the best. So let's listen back to it, and then we'll watch the knob as the side chain goes down. Okay. So you can see where it's dropping. So you can even see here where it's dropping when the kick comes in. And you'll notice if I bring the threshold all the way down, it cuts everything out. So that's what it's doing. But I want to leave a little bit under there. So like I said, leave it at about 38-40 decibels. So now we have a little more sidechain on that. And I actually did that with the massive like wow sound at the beginning as well. So that also has the right click, sidechain to this track only, or just sidechain to this track, not only. And then on the limiter, of course, again, I have the composition, sidechain, all that. So that's also being sidechained. Nice. So I'm going to have to stop this episode here and make this a two-parter, but don't worry, both episodes will be posted at the same time, so don't worry. But thank you so much for watching again. I will see you guys in the next episode. Remember, if you want all the presets and samples used in this or any other tutorials that I make, head over to my Patreon, and for just $2 a month, all of them are yours. So thank you guys again for watching. Peace!